The main concern of Moldova's smallholders and farmers is survival in this, the poorest country in Europe. The government would like to apply for EU membership, but at the moment, that remains something of a pipe dream. Apart from its stumbling economy, the political situation is unstable. This family of 6 lives on €50 a month, meaning they rely on their crops to eat.
My oldest son, who is 23 years old, used to work in Moscow in construction, and now he's back because he wants to get married here. And 3 or 4 times he sent some money home.
In this former Soviet republic, 25% of the population lives below the poverty line, and emigration is endemic, particularly from the countryside.
I tried working as a builder. I tried working in Russia. I earned a bit of money, and then I planted 1.5 hectares of vines. Right now, I still have a long way to go. I have to earn enough so that I can actually bottle my wine. That's why we need money. That's why my wife and my eldest daughter have gone abroad to work. Everything they earn in Italy, they send back, and we invest it in wine production and marketing. That's how we survive. Here's the money my wife sent from Italy. We want to build a wine cellar with a building for primary vinification. I want to go to Italy and earn €30,000. I need the money to finish building here.
Nikolai's brother Anatoly has been in the wine business for 5 years. And despite the Russian blockade and strict EU quotas on Moldovan wines, he exports his wine.
I also sell on the Moldovan market. My wines are sold through a supermarket.
Vinurile mele sunt plasate în supermarketele orașului, dar acest container.
But most of it, almost half of the 2006 production, is going in a container to China.
Mai mult de jumătate de vinuri produse din 2006 pleacă acum la China. Și pentru mine, repet,
I really hope that it'll give me a good income and allow me to develop more business in the future.
Îmi va da în viitorul apropiat o dezvoltare care și o așteptăm. Eu am trăit în Rusia și am lucrat.
I lived in St. Petersburg in Russia for 29 years. I used to be a sailor.
Am fost în mări și oceane.
I traveled the world, crossed every ocean.
Am câștigat timpul
and
acesta.
all the money I earned was invested here in my homeland.
Aici am adus la patria mea, la mireagul meu.
The money was enough to start my business, even if the investment needed isn't cheap.
Pentru a planta 10 hectare de viță de vie.
Moldova is in a stalemate conflict with the breakaway region of Transnistria, which used to be the wealthier part of the republic.
There are certain enterprises which are highly competitive. You can see it even looking at the Transnistrian trade statistics, and you see that more than half of Transnistrian exports actually go to the EU, which became possible after the Transnistrian company started to register in Moldova without paying any tax here and benefiting from the autonomous trade preferences granted by the EU.
Transnistria broke away in 1992 after a civil war in the wake of fears that Moldovans wanted to join Romania after the collapse of the USSR. 1,300 peacekeeping Russian troops watch over the fragile stability of this area and witness the discreet support Moscow gives to Transnistria. But the rift is not just about Romanian and Russian speakers. Vladimir Pasyutin is a Russian-born Transnistrian businessman and member of the parliament. He believes Transnistria must be independent, even if the international community has not recognized it.
We export very little to the EU because the quotas for Moldova are so negligible that it doesn't really work. Of course, if the EU opens the market, we'll enter it.
As well as his farm, Mr. Pasyutin also owns a furniture factory. Most of the factory's machines are made in Germany and Italy.
Furniture, before we used to export it to Romania, but we don't now. But our furniture is absolutely competitive. We've seen models of good German and Italian companies. Also an Austrian company. Our people are as creative as the Europeans, and our furniture is just as good as theirs, but it's cheaper. That's why we could absolutely compete with the Europeans, if it wasn't for the customs barriers.
Transnistrian businessmen are eager to reach the EU market, but the current political deadlock creates multiple layers of complications.
Instead of repairing the damage done in 1992, Moldova keeps on establishing economic blockades, customs blockades, blockades on using roads and banks, for instance. That's why we blame Moldova. This difficult economic situation is 50% due to these blockades. So we don't see ourselves travelling into the future with Moldova.
Vladimir Pasyutin took the lease on his farmland for 99 years. He couldn't buy it because land in Transnistria is still state-owned.
The problem is not earning money. The problem is there are no jobs in Moldova. So we've been here for 8 years working for this company. I don't think Transnistria should be independent. I believe it should stay as part of Moldova. We don't see any reason why Transnistria should be separate. We should be one single state.
The European Union also opposes any splitting up of Moldova. And to please Brussels, the current Moldovan government is starting to make reforms in order to appease Transnistrians by offering them an EU future. But everyone is aware that this EU future is so far away as to be almost unreachable.